Prop firms can often be untrustworthy and predatory for traders, and I'm sure you've all heard of instances where traders have been denied payouts or their accounts have been breached for made up reasons which weren't stated on the website. That's why it's really important to choose the correct firm so that you don't end up spending months trying to pass the challenges, only to be denied a payout at the end of it. The firms I'm currently using and the ones that I would recommend are the biggest ones in the industry, which are FTMO and Think Capital Markets. I'm sure you've all heard of FTMO being one of the biggest prop firms in the space, but Think Capital Markets is a newer prop firm, fully backed by a regulated broker, Think Capital Markets, and has very favourable conditions for traders as well, no predatory drawdown rules, and very realistic profit targets. So in my opinion, to give yourself the best chance of consistent success in the long term, I would highly recommend sticking with these two big firms in the industry. Don't go for any of the smaller firms and try not to be enticed by any of the big discounts that a lot of them offer. A lot of the times when you see firms offering big discounts like this, it's a big red flag because it indicates that they're running into liquidity problems or any problem on the back end. So let's head over to the computer now and I'll break down the pros and cons of each firm and which ones you should choose depending on your current situation and where you are based in the world. Make sure to also stay till the end of the video because I'm going to be going through a full prop firm strategy, one that has helped me pass multiple challenges in the past and has also helped me to build a consistent track record on a live personal account as well. Okay, so first of all, Think Capital Markets. This is the website. And as I said, Think Capital Markets is actually backed by a regulated broker, Think Markets, which essentially means that this is a very reputable firm. If you're an owner of a regulated brokerage, you're not going to risk your reputation by operating some scammy prop firm and just basically taking people's money. That's not how things work. You can be very confident that this is a legitimate prop firm. They will pay traders out as they have multiple times in the past, which has been proven because they paid out traders in the past. So one other benefit that Think Capital Markets offers is that you can actually trade directly from TradingView. So what this means is that if you're on TradingView and you wanted to enter a position, you can simply put on the risk to reward tool and then basically draw on your trade onto the charts, and you can simply place it on TradingView like this, as you were if you were backtesting on bar replay. So which is very beneficial because you don't have to then go and sort of adjust for spreads, compare different pricing feeds and all of these other complications. You can just do it very simply from TradingView itself, and there's no sort of headache and you don't really have to think too much about placing the trades. So they offer 3 different challenges. Each one has slightly different rules. The Lightning Challenge is a 1-phase evaluation. The Dual Step is the classical sort of 2-phase evaluation where you have 2 phases. And then you have this Nexus Challenge as well, which is a 3-phase challenge. However, what I would personally recommend is that you would always go with the Dual Step Challenge. And I'll explain that in a second, but essentially I wouldn't recommend this Lightning phase because you only have 6% max loss limit. So if you have a 6 trade losing streak, which is very possible even if you have like a 40-50% win rate, then you're going to lose the account. So I wouldn't recommend this one. You also have to make 10% on that first phase. So if you're considering that as a ratio, the ratio of profit target to max loss is actually around 5/3. So I think that's about 1.67, let's call it. But with the dual step phase, the ratio of the profit target to the max loss limit is much smaller. You only have to make 8%, and then you have a maximum loss of 8% as well. So that's obviously a 1-to-1 target to drawdown ratio. And the 3-stage challenge as well, you have to make in total 18% to pass the challenge between all phases. Whereas for the 2-step evaluation, you only have to make 13%. And the profit splits and payout frequencies are the same across all these different challenges. So personally, I would recommend going with the 2-step evaluation. the one thing a lot of prop firms do is they will put in this one phase evaluation, because in the trader's mind, when you first see this, it seems like a very good offer. You only have to do one phase right to pass the challenge. But what people don't really realize is that you only have this 6% max drawdown, which is not very good in my opinion, unless you're going to do 0.5% risk on the challenge and funded accounts, and then it's just going to take you ages to pass them. So I would always recommend trying not to find a shortcut, stick with the two-step evaluations. So yeah, right here we have a comparison. So they obviously offer the 1-step and 3-step challenge. We can just ignore that because I said to go with the 2-stage evaluations. The drawdown type is balance-based, which means that you're not going to be sort of caught out when the trade runs in profit and then comes back to break even. A lot of prop firms nowadays have this equity-based drawdown type, which basically means that, let's say the equity-based drawdown is 4% in a day. If your trade went 4% up and then hit break even, you would actually breach the account, because that would count as a 4% equity drawdown. But with Think Capital Markets, it's a balance-based drawdown, which means that you have to actually lose 4% in a day, which if you're using proper risk management, that should be impossible, because you shouldn't be losing 4 trades risking 1% in a day. You get a 90% profit split, weekly payout cycles. I think it starts bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks, but still very good compared to most firms. US clients are allowed, which is contrary to what a lot of prop firms these days offer. So very good opportunity for you guys in the US and India as well, where FTMO is not available anymore. You can trade from TradingView, like I said, and is also fully backed by a personal broker, a regulated broker, Think Capital Markets. And one of the very nice features about this firm is that they actually allow you to withdraw profits straight into your personal trading account. So if you guys want to trade a personal account whilst you're waiting for profit splits, or whilst you're doing evaluations on prop firms, you can also do that as well, funneling all of the profits or some of the profits straight from the prop firm payouts into your personal trading account itself. So now, how does this compare with FTMO? Like I said, FTMO is no longer available for US and Indian clients. However, they are one of the most reputable and long-standing prop firms within the industry, as we can see here, since 2015. That is relatively heard of in this prop firm industry, where firms tend to pop up and then disappear within a couple of years due to liquidity issues or going bankrupt and so on and so forth. But FTMO has actually been around since 2015, and one of the things that they actually have done, which is completely revolutionary in the retail trading space, is that if you can consistently prove profitability over the long run, you can actually have the opportunity to trade professionally for a hedge fund called QuantLane, where you have the opportunity to manage real money. Prop firm capital, if you guys don't know, is actually it's demo money. You're paid out on demo accounts. But what FTMO are offering, if you can consistently prove that profitability, is that you can actually trade real funds and trade alongside some of the professional traders in the industry, so you have more of like an institutional experience. You have a fixed salary as well, so you don't need to worry about any monthly performance fees. You simply just trade, and then if you don't make profit, you still get a fixed salary, so it kind of takes the pressure off trading a little bit. You get your own performance and mindset coach as well, so very unique offering right here. And as I said as well, FTMO also has some very favorable rules. Okay, so some of the rules that FTMO offers, like I said, very favorable conditions for the traders. Unlimited trading period, that is a massive game changer. If you guys have been around for some time, you'll remember when you had the 30-day trading period where you had to make 10% return, which is, completely unrealistic. Nowadays, you have this opportunity for unlimited trading days, So you could literally take the entire year to pass this challenge and the account wouldn't be breached as long as you stick within the drawdown limits. So you have maximum daily loss of 5,000 or 5%. Like I mentioned previously, it should be impossible for you guys to fail based on daily loss limit, because if you just think about it logically, if you lose 4% in a day, just don't place another trade. It's that simple. If you're risking 1% per trade, that is. So if you lose 4 trades in a day, again, you shouldn't be doing that really. Just simply don't place another trade and you won't fail. Maximum loss of 10%, that's also very nice. So you have to actually lose 10 trades in a row, risking 1%, or 20 trades in a row, risking 0.5% in order to fail the challenge. You only need to make 15% in total in order to pass the challenge. It's slightly more expensive than Think Capital Markets, but that is to be expected because it is more established and long-standing firm, like I mentioned. You get a refund after passing as well. So what I always recommend doing is that once you have passed, just go for like a $50 trade. Even if it's on a 100k account, get around $50 and then just secure the refund, because after that there's literally zero risk. You don't have any of your own money on the line, and you can trade risk-free. Okay, so now that we have these two prop firms that we can use reliably, how do we actually go about approaching these challenges to pass them and get consistent payouts on them? So that is what I'm going to be covering in this next section. So first of all, I can't stress this enough, guys. So I get messages on Instagram all of the time, people taking these prop firm challenges and they say they failed them, help me out, I can't pass prop firm challenges. And literally all of them, when I ask them, they don't have any data on their strategy. What they've done is they've essentially learned one of these strategies, so SMC, ICT, and they think because they've watched a YouTube video on it that they can just simply go and apply it in the market and it's going to be profitable. But what you've got to understand is that even if you learn one of these strategies, it's probably not going to be profitable for you until you actually go and test it, practice seeing it over and over and over again in the market until it becomes sort of ingrained in your mind and you can see it and recognize it relatively easy in the market. So what you have to do before taking these challenges, unless you have an actual technical edge, meaning that you are profitable, right, in the live market or in backtesting, you actually need data on the strategy. So for this, I recommend using FX Replay. The link will be in the description. But essentially, this is a very advanced backtesting software, probably one of the best in the industries, and it allows you to essentially collect data on your system. So for example, this is one I've been doing recently, and you can see that I have currently around 2 years worth of data on this strategy which I'm testing. 61% win rate, average 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. So obviously if somebody gives you those odds, you're going to take it, because over a sample size you can see this would be very profitable. If your equity curve on the other hand is consistently going down or is consistently breaking even, or you have big upswings and big downswings, and there's obviously a very high standard deviation related to that system, then you probably don't have an edge and you shouldn't be taking prop firm challenges. But as you can see with this strategy, the maximum losing streak I think I had was 4 trades. So if I'm risking 1% on either Think Capital or FTMO, I'm never gonna hit the maximum drawdown of 8% or 10% respectively, just because I had that maximum drawdown of around 4%. Maybe it'll be a little bit bigger in the live market, let's say 6%, to account for any emotional factors, human error, all of that sort of thing. So even if I lose 6 trades in a row, it's very unlikely that I'm going to then go to 8 and 10 trades in a row unless I massively go on tilt, which I don't expect to happen. But the point being, you need an edge like this before taking prop firm challenges. Otherwise, you literally may as well go to a casino, throw a couple $1,000 on roulette or whatever you want to play. So make sure you have an edge before taking these challenges. Otherwise, there's literally 0 point. And as I said, use FX Replay. to collect data on your strategy. It's the easiest way to do it, because on TradingView Bar Replay, if you backtest it on there, you have to manually calculate all of these statistics yourself, which, that's going to take you some time. As I said, link is in the description. You will also get a free trial as well. But back to the actual prop firm strategy, the risk management plan that I actually recommend is do 1% risk on challenges, which means that you have to make 8 and 5, 13 in total, 13%. If you're risking 1%, that means you have to make 13 Rs. So if your trade is a 1 to 3 risk to reward, you have to then do 4 of those plus 1 more R to pass the challenge. 0.5 risk on the funded stage. The reason I recommend this is that when you get to the funded stage and you have this sort of psychology that you're trading for real money, you're not actually trading real money, you're trading a demo account, but because you have this psychology that there is real money to be made in the market, your psychology starts to change and you start to make stupid mistakes. So 0.5% risk on funded stage, that means that you would have to lose 20 trades in a row to fail these challenges and breach the account, which, even if you have, let's say, a 20% win rate, to really exaggerate it, losing 20 trades in a row is close to a negligible chance of happening. So 0.5% risk on the funded stage, and it's very, very unlikely you will lose the account. I always recommend and advocate in A+ setups only, so 1 to 2 trades per week. If that sounds like very few trades to you guys, just look at what all of the best hedge fund traders do. They don't take trades every day. They're not out here like Rambo firing off on the keyboard, placing trades left, right, and center. They're calm, calculated, taking very few setups, which are well planned and well executed. Maximum 1 trade in a day. The reason I would recommend this is because you may say, I got stopped out, but the trade is still valid. I think for the majority of people, that logical reasoning falls apart once they've lost 1 trade in a day. Because once you've lost the trade, you're rushing to make the money back. You're in this sort of emotional state of mind. You can't think logically. So for the average person, 99% of people, I would not re-enter trades if you get stopped out. Your stop loss was there for a reason, so just cut your losses, come back the next day. And again, if you're doing this, you should never fail based on the daily drawdown limit, because you would only lose 1% in a day, never 4 or 5%. And keep in mind, there's no rush either. You have unlimited time to do these challenges. Obviously, you want to be efficient with your time, but just keep in mind, you don't need to pass in X amount of time anymore. The funded stage, like I said, 0.5% risk. On the first payout, go for a small payout, maybe just like $50 or so, because this is going to allow you to secure your refund. After you have got your refund, the account is literally risk-free. You're risking no money to make multiple thousands potentially per trade. You won't get that type of risk to reward in any other industry. So make sure to get that refund first of all, to help you with your psychology and basically to make the account just risk-free. And one other rule that I have is the payout rule. So this is essentially where we're looking for consistent small payouts as opposed to huge payouts of multiple hundreds of thousands like you see on social media. Keep in mind that a lot of these prop firms will put this on social media to market their firm to traders, knowing very well that if you see a trader getting, say, a 50k payout, that is the top 0.0000001% of people. Everybody else failed in the process of trying to get to that payout. So what I would say is that don't aim for these huge gains. 2 to 3% per month is realistic on a consistent basis if you're risking 1%. So aim for those consistent 2 to 3% payouts, and as soon as the account goes into profit, when all of the trades are closed, just wait for the payout, take it. It's free money at the end of the day after you've got to that stage. So yeah, small consistent gains as opposed to huge gains to just try and get on the leaderboards and inflate your ego. So yeah, 2 to 3% per month, that's a sustainable return. Don't aim for 10% a month. It probably won't happen and you'll probably end up blowing the account. So massive opportunity we have with these two reliable prop firms, FTMO and Think Capital. However, what I want to stress to you guys is that last year, when a load of the prop firms went down due to liquidity problems, regulations coming in, it really showed how fragile this industry actually is. And what I would say is that use any money you make from these prop firms, fund a personal account. You have no restrictions with how you trade. You can withdraw anytime you want. If you are trading these prop firms, use the withdrawals to fund a personal account and then consistently build that over time. That should be your main goal. The prop firms should just be sort of like a side thing that you use initially to build your capital and basically establish yourself as a trader. So I appreciate you all for watching this video. Make sure to like the video if you did end up enjoying it, and comment below if you want me to do any more of these prop firm videos, whether you want me to cover the strategy I use in more detail or whether it may be. Just comment below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and I will see you guys in the next one.